whenever we feel forgotten, especially in the age of social media and you see what everybody else is doing, feel like everybody else is winning, you almost feel sometimes like God has favorites and it feels like I'm forgotten. And first of all, in my desert, quote unquote, season of like being very unseen, God did the most work in my life he's ever done. And that was just absolutely invaluable to anything. If I would have been off working on a set, none of that could have happened. So God was like, I am doing more now than I could have done than compared to anything you could be working on. And that's what it's all about, right? Like we're being fit for heaven.
Well, hello, crew. It is Adam and Emily, and you are joining us here today on The Conversation for episode 323 today.
Woo.
We got Thanksgiving week coming up.
We got Thanksgiving taking place.
This week.
Any like favorites on Thanksgiving? Like, is there like a must required thing?
Yes, we actually have, in our family, we have this tradition. My grandma started it a long, long time ago. And every Thanksgiving, we have red Jell-O with bananas in it. So we cut up bananas and we put it in red Jell-O, and we have it at every single Thanksgiving. Like, once my husband came into the family, he's like, why the heck do you guys have this? Like, this is so weird. Why is this a Thanksgiving side?
Does he partake in it?
He'll eat a little bit just to be polite, but I don't think it's really his favorite.
When you're saying it, I'm like, I'm glad I grew up in a different household.
Yeah.
That does not sound.
It just adds a little bit of color to your plate. You know, everything's so beige. We need a little bit of pop of something.
There it is. Mine is cornbread with like corn in it. So cornbread like together, like. It's the best.
Your parents just make that growing up?
No, we actually didn't grow up with it. We discovered it. It's a thing in the South. And so when I was in seminary, there was a family, Barb was her name, who would make it, and it was amazing. And so we've brought it back.
Oh, there you go.
So good. The cornbread, all of it together. So stinking good.
Corny cornbread and red Jell-O with bananas. Your Thanksgiving meal this year.
No, but I randomly want to say just how grateful I am for all of you who listen. It's so fun anytime someone stops me and just says, hey, I listen to your podcast weekly. I had someone on Sunday, they drove from a couple of hours away to come to church with us. And she's like, I listen to you almost every single morning. And I said, I'm sorry. She started laughing, but I'm just really, really grateful for all of you. So happy Thanksgiving. If you're on Faith Radio, it's a happy belated Thanksgiving. So there you go.
Thank you guys so much for being part of the conversation. And it would not be possible without some awesome partners that we have. This week, Adam, who do we got for a partner?
Yeah, our partners are amazing. I just feel like I could gush on them so much. Our first partner is First Interstate Bank. I've personally done my banking with them since 2007. Their mission is to help people and their money work better together. They have over 300 locations throughout 14 different states, Arizona to Colorado, Washington State to the great state of South Dakota. For more information, and if you're looking for a location near you, just visit firstinterstatebank.com. Again, they've just been awesome. I work with Joy anytime I need something specific. She's at the 57th Street office, and she'll shout out to you, Joy, in First Interstate Bank. Our second partner is none other than Vern Eide Mitsubishi. Vern Eide Motor Cars is a faith-based, employee-owned company that strives to deliver dreams and transform lives. And their goal is excellence in everything that they do. Just this week alone, had several people say, hey, I got a vehicle from Vern Eide because you talk about them all the time, and just honored to do so. At Vern Eide, my go-to is Jared. So shout out to you. Again, I've bought literally the last 4 or 5 vehicles through Vern Eide, and the only vehicle I don't buy is something older than 1950. If it's older,
that's on Facebook Marketplace.
That's old Facebook Marketplace. But if you're looking for an Outlander, like I drive, a new Honda CR-V, like my wife drives. You name the make of vehicle, the type of vehicle, they're most likely going to have it, and no matter where you live, they'll ship it to you. VernEide.com. Don't go anyplace else. VernEide.com.
Perfect.
I love Vern Eide.
Thank you for that, Adam. This week we have a awesome conversation coming at you between Adam and Masey McLain.
Yes.
What were some of your favorite parts about talking with Masey?
So Masey is awesome. We talk about her husband. I've known her husband, Caleb, for a long, long, long time. But Masey is in the film industry, and she's just an amazing person. Such a joy. giving person, but also just hardworking person of conviction. So several things I loved. We talked about hard work in reaching your goals, like just putting in the hard work every single day. So that was super cool. And then she just talked about saying no to opportunities because of her convictions. And for us, I think for most people, that doesn't really come into play. It's like I stay true to my convictions, but it doesn't impact my paycheck.
Yeah,
It's easy for us, like, oh, my convictions, I posted on Instagram. No, but for Masey, it's like, oh, this is my income and my career. And so just hearing her talk about saying no to things because of her convictions was really, really powerful. So I love that. She's got a new movie called Soul on Fire that she's a part of. And so we talk about that as well. You're going to love this conversation. On that note, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Masey, if you want to give, just for someone who's new to you, the cliff notes of who you are, just work-wise, faith-wise, whatever that is, I'll just turn you loose.
Yeah. My name is Masey McLain, and I am an actress, a screenwriter, and producer. I'm married to Caleb Stanley, as you just said, and we could have a whole podcast just on him because he really is that amazing. And you said exactly, everyone he speaks to and every room he's in, he is so life-giving. So I'm constantly learning from him and encouraged by him. So anyways, shout out from his wife over here too. And I love the entertainment space. I've been working in it for a really long time, and God has allowed me to be a part of some really incredible projects that have moved people in special ways. And one of the things I love most about entertainment is it doesn't preach. It really gets people to think. And if someone can leave a project and really just start thinking of oh, I'm starting to think different, or oh, I never thought of that way, or oh, sometimes when you're hearing a story or seeing a story, it just you're just oh, you're living through someone else's experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful. And I think that's, why Jesus used parables a lot. Let me tell you a story. And the disciples always walked away thinking of most of the time thinking, what in the world, and then later understanding it. But it's the power of story to meet people where they're at. And a lot of people go to entertainment to escape. So that's why I say it's fun to be a part of projects where they still can escape in entertainment, but they're also going to leave different.
Yeah.
Even if it's a sneak attack and they don't even understand how that happened. But yeah, I love that space. I felt called to it for a long time. And I love my town I live in. I love my community. I was living in Los Angeles before that, and I never in a million years thought God would just plop me in a little small town, but it is the greatest place ever. The greatest community, creatives, entrepreneurs, and I see the same people every day. And it is a joy. I love it.
Even your mayor is awesome.
Oh, yes, our mayor, I thought that was my mayor. Someone literally just walked by and it was like a shadow, and I thought that was him because he works in my same office space.
That is...
Yes, we all basically collectively voted our friend as the mayor, which is really fun. All kidding aside, he is legit and is very good at what he does. But yeah, this is really random to share. Last week, your mayor shared something of our mayor's on his social. And I'm like, it is a small, small world. And our mayor here in Sioux Falls is the most legit leader I've ever been around. Wow. No joke. Just an amazing man. And so that's just so bizarre. That is crazy.
With Masey, with work, was the faith bigger, kind of that bigger purpose, a part of it at the start? For you personally, was that really from the start, or was it more no, I just really want to go to this space specifically, and then the faith element came later? Share that. Did it feel like a calling or something you kind of started pursuing just because you liked it at first? Share that part.
I gave my life to Jesus when I was 7 years old. I was at a revival service, and my dad was a pastor, so I always heard of the gospel. And I would, quote unquote, fake get saved all the time. When a kid's like, I get saved, I gave my life to Jesus. But it wasn't real. I was just excited and thought, this is how you do it. But I'll never forget, I was at a revival service and it was like a veil lifted. I saw it clearly for the first time. And I understood that I didn't want to die without Jesus, but I also didn't want to live without him. So I understood in that moment, oh, I need Jesus. Like I am dead in my sin. And I gave my life to, my dad prayed with me and gave my heart to Jesus. And apparently I was a terrible kid because they all say that it was a night and day transformation. They're like, your testimony is that you were an absolutely horrible kid. And then literally I got saved and I was just like, I was new the next day. Like, I mean, obviously it took time of sanctification, but I remember feeling different. I remember being like, oh, I am different now. Which is kind of funny as a
7-year-old you were on a very terrible trajectory.
Well, apparently they said they would pray over me every night. And they were like, Lord, please save this girl. I was really sneaky too. I was very sneaky. And so they were like, she's gonna do some damage if she doesn't get converted.
She needs Jesus. So that was in really from the start, even career-wise, though, like kind of that higher purpose.
So I started working with Jesus then. Obviously didn't know everything, but I knew that he was with me. And then I was actually at a Rebecca St. James concert. Oh. And she was my hero growing up. Yeah. I just thought she was the greatest. And I thought it was so amazing that this girl was so talented and was cool. Like she wore the coolest outfits and she was a singer and just wrote amazing songs. But it was always pointed to Jesus. So it wasn't like the Rebecca show, like as amazing as she was, it was just all about Jesus at the end of it, especially. And I was at a show and I'll never forget, I felt the Lord speak to my heart that I would be in entertainment one day, but it would look really different. Oh, I would be in entertainment, but it would also be ministry. And I had no idea what to do with that because, I was a little girl and the only person I told was my mom. And I was like, I just think God is telling me I'm going to be in entertainment one day, but it'll be ministry. And also, I mean, things were, I'm not old, but like things were, it wasn't like I was this little kid in South Georgia, like it wasn't like, I was like, how in the world would that ever happen? Like the Atlanta scene hadn't happened yet with entertainment. So it was very, I didn't know how in the world that would ever be possible with where I grew up and just kind of what was possible at the time, I guess. But anyways, flash forward, when I was 15, I did a play in high school and I fell in love with it. Before that, I was all about sports. I was, I was a runner, basketball, and I did a play. And in Chariots of Fire, do you remember that movie?
Yes.
Where he's running and he says when he runs, he feels God's pleasure. I felt that when I was acting. I was like, oh, I feel like I was kind of made to do this. Like it feels like this is how God's made me. And I just felt like I felt his pleasure and like the delight of like his creation, just kind of doing something that he had gifted me with.
Yes.
And I felt like I could fly in a way. And I decided to get an agent and for TV and film. And that kind of started my journey in film, which I loved film more than I loved the stage. Whoa. So, but Faith, I never set out to go into entertainment saying, I'm going to go, change the entertainment space or bring my faith there. It was just kind of like I'm walking with God and I love performing. Yeah. So coupling those things, you just kind of take one step in front of the other and keep going.
Has it been, and I'm kind of thinking specifically for someone who's listening and is maybe in a different workplace environment that's not per se Christian naturally, has it been a challenge faith-wise in the entertainment world for you personally? Any things that you've learned that have been helpful to, here's what it looks like to be a Jesus follower in a place that's not necessarily Christian. Now your latest film is faith-based, obviously, but can you share anything there, Masey, that has it been challenging and anything that's been helpful faith-wise? For
sure. It has been challenging at times. And I honestly feel like God has used my journey in entertainment to just sanctify the core, like me to my core I don't know that this makes sense, but lately I've been kind of saying it almost feels like sometimes our gifts, rather than, we're going to go do these great things in the world. I do think we will, and we are by the grace of God, and he empowers us to do great things, and he's planned out all the good works for us to do, right? But I also sometimes feel like our gifts are mainly to sanctify us. I just look back and I'm like, God, this has been such a tool to really carve out my heart and tear down idols and really hone in on what my identity actually is. And so anyways, that's part of it. But I also feel like the tough part is, every script I get, it's so much gray area. There's so much gray area of what to be involved in and what not, because you can't control every project. Even if I'm playing a character that is, fine, and there's nothing like that I have conviction about, there could be something massive in the film that I'm like, but if I point everyone to go watch this film, I have all these girls that I speak to at conferences. And then if I blast out a film that has this message that I absolutely don't believe in, I can't do that, because I'm responsible for that when I stand before God one day, I believe, of where I point people. So that gets tricky. It takes a lot of prayer.
Masey, do you feel like you have missed out on, have passed on amazing opportunities because of that?
Yeah, for sure. There's been many times I was up for roles and just had to pass, and really close to booking roles, and ended up seeing where it was going and what kind of a project it would be, and just had to call my manager and say, I'm so sorry, but I can't keep going on this. And I have the greatest manager in the world. I didn't actually know it when I signed with him, but he's a believer. And the first time I turned something down, he called me and he just said, I am so proud of you. I'm a Christian, and I'm really proud. And I was like, oh my word, for the Lord to set me up with a manager that will back me, even if he's going to lose a lot of money, is a big deal. So I'm just really thankful that he's never tried to make me bend on my convictions. Even if he shares all of them, or if he doesn't, he's just like, you got to do what you are led by the Holy Spirit to do. And I had one instance, this was actually pretty recent. I was speaking at an event, and out of all things, I was speaking on convictions and, kind of when to, basically selling yourself out to gain the world, or sticking to the Holy Spirit and what he's telling you, and just talked about walking that line in entertainment. And as soon as I got down off the stage, my manager called me and he just said, so remember that project you auditioned for? And I was like, yeah. And he said, you are like really close to booking it. It's between you and this other girl, and they're really honing in on you. And it's a pretty big show on Netflix right now. And I was so excited because this was such a fun role. And he said, but there's one problem. He said, they want to know about nudity. Like, will you do that? And I said, no, absolutely not. That's a hard line. And I was like, can I talk to them to see how can we work around things? Like, how can we, like, why do you need that for that character? Can I try to convince them that that's not needed? This character does not have to do that. And he was like, they can't. This is what they really want. This is the kind of trajectory they're going. So it was almost laughable because I was like, I just spoke on this. And I step off the stage, and it was almost like bait from Satan, but it was comical because it wasn't even a question if that was a line I would cross or not, So I was like, wow, the timing was crazy. So there's been instances like that for sure.
Well, that's just crazy. Like, and what a cool thing for your manager to say, like, Masey, that's like stuff at the end of your life that you can like hold on to. You know what I mean? Like that's like that's the stuff that like at the end you're just like, man, this made no flipping sense.
Yeah.
And yet, like, now as I look back on my life, it's like it's one of those like things I can hold on to. It's like it becomes like a pillar of the woman of God that you are. Like just like those decisions over time is what just builds like a strong tower. Like, I mean, it's just unbelievable, like what God does through that. And I even just listening to you, like, I'm like, man, what does that look like as a pastor even? I think, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you don't face those types of things in even church world. It's like, oh, yes, you do. Like there's times of gray and times of like, well, we could try this or do that. And it's like, why would we ever compromise anything in this area, that area, regardless of what field you're in? Yeah. That's good. Anything else you want to share about like, is there any nugget of wisdom that you would say for that person who's feeling like, man, I'm at this job right now and I do feel like there's gray and I'm not really sure what to do? Any insight for that person that's like, I just feel like I have a lot of gray in my workplace?
Yeah, the gray is hard to navigate. It is. I just want to say to that person, I feel your pain because it is so tricky. But something, I mean, you know, scripture says the Holy Spirit is our great counselor. He's the greatest help we've been given. And I mean, I think he will reveal, like even in James, it says, ask for wisdom and it will be given to you. Yeah. I think you just have to be able to accept whatever that wisdom is. And I would tell that person too, cultivate the kind of circle that the Lord might speak that wisdom through the circle you've cultivated. You know, whether that is a pastor you go to and say, please help me discern this. They might immediately know the answer because they're like, hey, from the outside looking in, this is a no-brainer. Yep. And I think that's why your circle is so important and having someone you can go to that you trust will speak into your life and tell you the truth. That's so good. I have that for sure. The Holy Spirit, he's the helper.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so kind of slightly different. Advice for the person who's pursuing their goals outside of God's kindness. So kind of setting that aside, which is hard to set aside. Has there been something that you can put your finger on that has helped you achieve the success that you have? So like,
are you saying like outside of me saying God, like God
yes,
really?
Yeah. Outside of just those moments where it's like God just opens this door that's like, I do not deserve this. Is there anything that you can, I'm basically trying to,
I love this question.
You'll struggle because you're so kind and humble, but is there one or two things that you can be like, this is what has helped?
Yeah. Well, no, I love this question because I think something sometimes we as believers miss is we're co-laboring with God. Like it's not, we sit back and like, oh, God's just going to do it. You know, it's like, no, he says, it's like my Southern accent that just came out there. God's just going to do it. I need a Southern roll, Lord. You heard it here. Oh my gosh. But truly, sometimes we do that. And I've really been focusing on that verse of it is we're co-laboring with him. That's and great. That means you're both working. So one thing I do feel like has helped me is I want to outwork anyone. Like if I'm against somebody, I will outwork you. If I am up for a job, I will not sleep until I get the job. And that's happened. Me and Taylor were in a sprint against other writers for a position one time, and we wrote a script in 8 days, a whole movie, because we just did not sleep. You know, and afterwards Caleb was like, hey, you know, we're going to have to set some boundaries, you know? And he's so, you know, he's wise to tell me that because I can become a workaholic. But yeah, I think working hard has helped me.
It's great.
Yeah.
Any like nuggets even on working hard? Like, do you have like, I'm going to write this many words a day, or I'm going to do this every single day? Like, is there anything else that you like do that is natural for you? So I'm a huge goal setter. So one of my goals, I have to do one action a day to reach it. So like today I have not done that one action yet. And so I'm like,
what's your action?
God. Well, it can be anything. So I have a personal finance goal that I'm pursuing. Nice. And so I try to do one action a day to achieve that goal. So like right now I coach a group of pastors. So I'm coaching like 20, 30 some pastors across the country. And so it's like, Lord, I have this new group starting in January. Is there an action that I can do to fill those spots in that group? So it might be a social post. That might be my one action for the day. It might be reaching out to a pastor that I think would be a really great fit in the group. So one action a day. I drank the Kool-Aid of John Acuff's like 3 years ago. He has a book called All It Takes is a Goal. I talk about it way too much, so I'm trying to not talk about it because I talk about it all the time. But so I just have that one action, and that it's so crazy. Away from God's kindness, I would say that for me is that one action towards that one goal every single day. It's crazy what God can do if you just keep fishing. You know, it's like you can't catch any fish if you don't cast the line. And so every day it's that one cast. And that's my part of co-laboring with God.
That's right.
But I can't make a fish jump on my line, you know? And so I'm like, okay, God, I just know that I've been faithful to you today, and you provide when you provide, but I'm just going to keep being faithful. Is there anything that you would say that, like, away from just like going at it, is there any is there any weird rhythm that you have or anything like that that's inside of you that you don't even realize you do?
I'll say there's not a set like word count when I'm writing, but I will write no matter if I feel like it or not. So if because when you're an entrepreneur or you're, you have deadlines, but also you can choose to be lazy if you want.
Yes.
You're not clocking in 9 to 5. You have to be disciplined. So I will, no matter if I feel like it or not, I will wake up in the morning and I will start writing. And I mean, I don't stop working till 6 or 7. And a lot of that is because I'm working with West Coast people. But also, even if, I don't want to encourage anyone to go be a workaholic, because I do think there's a mentality of like the striving. You want to be careful there. It is a delicate line. And, it is you got to co-labor, not strive.
What is your Enneagram?
The 3, 4. Definitely a 3. Are you a 3 too? I'm assuming because of the goal.
Yeah, yes, my name is Adam, and I am the same thing. Yes.
Wow. We could just have a support group
we
together.
We could.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But man, I think it's just that I just kind of make myself do the things I don't want to do.
That's good.
And then it's almost like when you start running, you don't want to run. But once you're past the first mile, it's like, oh, I can do this. So if you can just start, I know the Mel Robbins book is big right now. What is it called?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh my goodness. Let them.
Let them. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
She has a cool principle that I've kind of been using lately. Because I heard this thing one time that said like a lot of our anxiety is because we haven't done the thing we need to do. So if I know I have a deadline, I'm going to low key have anxiety because it's actually just hanging over my head. Right. Or I need to send that email, but I'm not sure how the response is going to be. So kind of anxiety. And I've realized, oh, wow, that is a lot of where if I have anxiety, that comes from. I just procrastinate. And so she has a thing. She's like, say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and do it. But it tricks your brain for some reason counting backwards to where your brain doesn't have a lot of time to think about it.
Yes.
So it's some scientific trick. So if you need to get yourself to start to do something, do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just do it. This is us 3 Enneagrams just motivating you today.
Macy, the other thing I wanted to ask, you have to get rejected often. Is that true?
Oh, often.
What would you say, like out of 10 tries, how many times do you get a no?
Oh,
like for a role
out of 100 tries. Oh my word. Every time I'm out for a role, I'm up against 1,000 girls, if not more. So, I mean, you're talking all the time. It is a miracle. When I booked this film, Soul on Fire, I honestly didn't even hardly believe it because I mean, truly, the odds are crazy in this industry.
So you get tons, just to understand, like lots of no's.
Oh, lots of no's. More no's than you can count. I get lots of no's.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So again, like I think that is a superpower of you and even of your field. Because most fields, it feels, not most fields, people who are doing door-to-door sales, all this kind of thing, they got a lot of no's as well. What do you do to keep keep trying? Like, why don't you get defeated?
Oh,
I mean, because
well,
you must not be good, and you must, just all this foolish stuff you tell yourself.
Oh, yeah.
What gets you to keep, specifically, you've been doing it now for a while, for years. Early on though, how do you overcome, do I just suck at this?
Yeah, that is a thought.
You know what I mean?
Also, auditioning is so different than being on set. So they even will teach auditioning is a different beast. I mean, you're literally just standing in front of a camera with a reader that is giving you zero emotion of anything. And you're having to just make everything up in your head, but nothing is, it's just a blank wall behind you. And it's and also there's different techniques to auditioning. So you have to do it differently than how you would on set. It's a whole different beast to tackle. But to answer your question, I feel like you have to be a little crazy to be in this industry. Only because not really, but I think you it's really fun when also a friend you see books a role and it kind of reminds you it's possible. Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, it's not too far off, and it's really fun because you're all kind of in it together. So you celebrate each other when one of you wins, like actors. But for me, I will say, when I say God has opened doors for me that I could not open myself, that is what keeps me going, that I am so confident that he has already prepared the good works for me to do. Whoa. He has already prepared every single film I'm supposed to be a part of. So again, even when I got Soul on Fire, I did not have quote unquote momentum at the time at all, because I had filmed a show called The Baxters, which was a dream to work on, but The Baxters sat for 5 years on a shelf and did not air. So I was like, God, you let me do a dream show and then it didn't air. What?
Yeah.
And so, and also COVID happened, all the strikes happened. So I was no one was looking at me because I hadn't worked in forever. I was quote unquote, just no momentum, just kind of dead. And when my manager called me and he was like, this does not make sense because you have nothing going, quote unquote, right now. It's pretty humbling. It's pretty humbling.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
There's nothing really happening, because my show never aired. But he was like, you are the number one pick for this role. Oh. And the director wants to read with you tomorrow. Oh. And I was like, what? But it just reminded me, I was honestly this is so God. This is what he does every single time. He just opens doors I can't. And it reminds me of even, Joseph felt forgotten. Yeah. And this is so small compared to being in prison for that long. So I'm not comparing the two. But it does, whenever we feel forgotten, especially in the age of social media, and you see what everybody else is doing, feel like everybody else is winning. You almost feel sometimes like God has favorites. And it feels like I'm forgotten. Yeah. And first of all, in my desert, quote unquote, season of being very unseen, God did the most work in my life he's ever done. And that was just absolutely invaluable to anything. If I would have been off working on a set, none of that could have happened. So God was like, I am doing more now than I could have done than compared to anything you could be working on. And that's what it's all about, right? We're being fit for heaven. So that's the goal, not to book roles or to do things. But it just reminded me when God just did that, I was like, God, you don't forget about us at all, ever. And so maybe that encourages someone right now, you're not forgotten, but it doesn't mean I don't get discouraged. I work on so many things, and I got a super disappointing call a few days ago with a project I poured my heart into. And I was convinced this was going to be such an amazing project that me and my writing partner were going to had the chance to write. And it was going to be pretty big. And all of a sudden they called and they were like, we had to cancel the project. And it was so disorienting because I was like, what? So it doesn't mean I don't get discouraged, but I have to remind myself what God's done in the past and just know that every part of what I do is the whole purpose of it all it's all about the journey with God, whether I'm at the beginning of the journey, in the middle of the journey, whether I'm on the hilltop, whether I'm living out my dream. It is all just a part of the journey until we get to heaven. So
Masey,
I have to remind myself.
Oh, that is beautiful. Can I ask, and we can cut this if you don't like this question. Do you feel as an Enneagram 3, failure is like my kryptonite?
Oh, yes.
And getting like told no for me is like I feel embarrassment even.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning more about myself, even like some shame in there as well.
Yeah.
What are any of those feelings that you feel, and anything else that you would say that you kind of get out of that mode? And maybe not even that you feel today, but like 10 years ago like I can only imagine feeling pretty exposed and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like trying for a role or whatever. And just kind of feel like, man, I put my soul. It's almost like if you sang and someone said you have a bad voice.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, geez, do I have a bad soul? Like, you
Yep.
know, anything else that you would say there as far as overcoming any of that?
I feel like because I've auditioned for this many years, and this many no's.
You're like, my heart is hard.
I have a calloused heart. I'm just kidding. No, but it feels less like, I think when I first started out, I definitely took it really personal of, oh, I'm not good enough. And then the more I was in it, the more I was like, oh, and also as a writer and as a producer, I'm seeing the other side of things.
Yes.
So I'm seeing what goes into picking people for roles. There is more involved in picking someone for a role than you could ever imagine. Like, it's almost like, someone's like, oh, I'm going to color this picture and I need a green to color the picture.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean red is bad. That doesn't mean red didn't do the best audition ever. I just really need green.
Yeah.
And so the more I've gone through this business, I've learned that. So I don't take it personal anymore. I think my biggest thing was taking it personal with God. Because I know we're going deep, Adam.
This is good.
Because I felt like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not good enough for you to want to use me, or I'm not good enough for you to want me to do these things, because you're the one that opens and closes doors. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm not, you're in control of it all. But I felt a little bit like, and I did the comparison thing for a while of, well, you're letting her do that. Yeah. So why am I just like stagnant for years, you know?
Yeah.
And God has, oh my word, taught me so much in all of that. And I kind of saw it clearly one day. I was at lunch with another actress and she was a strong believer. And she was so frustrated because she felt the same way I did. And she said the words, I feel benched by God. I feel like all these other players are getting to play and I'm on the bench. And that gave me such a clear picture of, and I just thought, and I said in that moment, I was like, no, God doesn't bench us. I don't think he does, because whenever we are quote unquote benched or not on the field, it's because he's having that one-on-one coach time. Like, I think he's like, okay, we got some serious work to do together. It's me and you. It's not like his focus is all out there on everybody else. I think when he does take us out, it's because he's like, all right, this is some one-on-one coaching time, you and me. And then whenever we get there, then we'll go back out together. But I didn't like the picture of God's got me behind him sitting on a bench because he's not paying attention to me. That's not it at all. So that really corrected my thinking, even hearing someone else say that. And I was like, I have been viewing God as he's benched me, and he has not. His attention has been more focused on me than I felt ever in my life. It's just not in front of people.
That was
these threes are getting some work done to us.
Oh my gosh, that was seriously that's a word right there, Masey. Like that's good. Last thing, tell us about Soul on Fire. Like, yeah, seriously, tell us about it. Share about it if whatever you want, and then about your specific character. Yeah.
Soul on Fire is, it is one of those that will kind of rip your heart out, but really put it back together and in the same sitting. But also, I feel like viewers are going to leave this movie not just inspired. Inspired doesn't even feel like a big enough word, but wanting to take action and wanting to really not only evaluate themselves and how they their mindset and, but also how they are speaking into the people around them. And one of my favorite verses lately is like, there is power of death and life in the tongue, choose life. And this movie is the epitome of that verse to me. The story is basically that John O'Leary, he was 8 years old and he was severely burned just in an accident. It was such a senseless, silly thing. He was playing with gasoline because he saw friends doing it and they were fine. And then it completely engulfed him in flames. And he had less than a 1% chance to live. Ugh. And a crazy part in the movie is his mom. And she just is like, I don't know how I said this, but which I think it was just totally the Lord. But he is completely, burned from head to toe in the hospital bed. The doctors are saying there is no way he's going to live. And she goes up to John and she just says, John, do you want to live? And she basically asks him, you have to choose. And he just says, yeah. And so this little boy with less than a 1% chance to live chooses life. And obviously, God is sovereign. But I think there is something so powerful about choosing life, not just in the moment where death and life is literally on the line, but every single day after that, he's had to choose life. Not just life physically, but life as now a mangled kid, a mangled teenager, a mangled man that does not have all of his limbs together, that feels pain every day. But when you're around John, you feel more alive than, it's hard to explain. When you are around this person, you are just more inspired than you ever thought you could be. And you just want to be like him. You want to love like him. You want to live like him. You want to be better because of him. He chooses life every single day. And he refuses to be a victim. Yeah. He refuses to live life any other way, but to really not be defined by anything except for, I'm gonna show up today and I'm gonna be all that God created me to be. That's it.
That's incredible.
And it's unbelievable. And, John says, he's like, I'm not the hero of the story. The hero of the stories are the people around me that refuse to let me be a victim. So his mom, there's even a scene, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a scene where he's trying to eat dinner and, he has no hands. And his mom is like, you got to figure it out. I'm not going to feed you. And so he learns how to eat dinner, completely. And now if you saw John, he texts faster than I do. And I'm like, how are you doing this? He's unbelievable. But his mom refused. His mom signed him up for piano lessons. She was like, you're going to learn how to play the piano. And he basically was just at every turn, the people in his life. And this is why I think your circle is so important. Oh. They just kept ushering him into his purpose and they refused to let him stay in the pit. They were like, no. You have chosen life and we're going to continue to choose life together. So they locked arms with him even when he didn't want to. And they called him into his purpose every single day. Not only did he have to choose life, but they chose to speak life over him. That is powerful. Yeah.
Powerful.
Changed everything. So I play a Beth O'Leary, who is John's girlfriend turned wife. And my favorite thing about Beth is I just think she's the epitome of what true love is. And in order to be loved, I really believe you have to be fully known. So to be fully loved, you have to be fully known. For someone to really love you means they know everything. They know the worst of you and they know the best of you. And they choose you. And Beth was never afraid of his scars. She was never afraid that he looked different, that his life would be different. She just saw him and she saw John the person, John the soul, John's personality, and she was just so in love with him. And I feel like the way she chose him is just such a picture of the gospel too, of God looking at us and saying, I see every single part of you. I see the worst depravity of you. And I choose you. And to me, it's just a mirror of true love that God first demonstrated to us. And I really hope people are inspired by John's story. really to choose life for themselves, and whatever that looks like in their situations, in their relationships, and whatever difficulty they're walking through, and they feel like, oh, woe is me, even like I can't get out of the pit. I'm here. You can choose. And I mean, I've been there. I've been in a place where I felt like I just could not get out of the pit. And it was like a season of depression that I was in. And it was that time where you feel the enemy speaking every single lie to you. And it is almost audible how bad it is. And in that moment, I'll never forget, it was such a precise moment. I felt the Holy Spirit say to me, you have a choice. You can choose to believe what you're hearing, or you can choose to trust me with everything you have. And, the verse says the enemy has come to kill, steal, and destroy, but I have come to give you life and life abundantly. And I think the enemy has stolen and killed and destroyed things in every single one of our lives, whether that's figuratively, physically, literally, whatever. But whatever the enemy kills, God can resurrect. Whatever the enemy destroys, God can rebuild. Whatever he steals, God can replenish. But I think we have to choose to let him.
Thank you again to everyone who is joining us in for the conversation today. We are so thankful that you guys spent the last 45 minutes of your day just hearing us out, chatting with Adam, listening to the conversation. So we really, really are so thankful.
Yeah, thanks to Masey for the time and just for being the person you are. Thanks to our partners, First Interstate Bank and Vernite Motor Cars. We couldn't do these podcast episodes without you. Last but not least, thanks to all of you who listen to the conversation. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, guys.